Here we are. Colleagues, don't remember that, don't forget. Colleagues, don't forget that graphite is made up of carbon. Graphite is made up of carbon. Do you know what happens when you burn things that are made up of carbon? Things which have carbon, for example, methane has carbon, graphite has carbon, diamond has carbon. All alkenes, they have carbon. They result in greenhouse emissions. They produce carbon dioxide gas. Yeah, that is one point. Also, this graphite, when it is extracted from natural resources, one can leave deep holes on land. So that will affect what? The water cycle, the underground water cycle, and the water quality will reduce. So dangers of graphite: combustion of graphite in excess supply of air produces carbon dioxide gas. I have been saying this, carbon dioxide gas is not toxic. Now, some of you will say that combustion of graphite in excess supply of air produces toxic fumes of carbon dioxide. Colleagues, carbon dioxide gas is not toxic. Carbon dioxide gas is not toxic. Carbon dioxide gas is not toxic. Just link it to it. When it accumulates in the atmosphere, you see, when it accumulates in the atmosphere, it just increases temperature in the atmosphere. It increases temperature, leading to rise in global temperatures, causing global warming. Yeah. Why? It forms a blanket. Once it is in the atmosphere, it will form a blanket over the entire atmosphere. Now, that blanket, have you ever imagined of a situation when you are enclosed into that blanket of yours? When you have covered your head with that blanket, you'll be experiencing very hot temperatures. Very hot temperatures. You'll be experiencing very hot temperatures. So that's what carbon dioxide does. So it forms a blanket within the atmosphere, and that blanket traps heat. Once it traps heat, there's a rise in global temperatures. Once there is rise in global temperatures, there is global warming and its associated effects like drought and famine. What have I said? Colleagues, carbon dioxide gas is not toxic. Don't repeat that mistake which you have been making. Carbon dioxide gas is not toxic. What does it do? When it is in the atmosphere, it forms a blanket over the atmosphere. What does that blanket do? I've told you, think about a situation when you are enclosed in that blanket of yours. The entire head, the legs, you'll be experiencing increase in temperature slowly. Maybe if the temperatures are very low, then you may not be affected to a larger extent. But at room temperature, if you cover your head with a blanket, there is increase in temperature. So carbon dioxide increases temperature once it forms that blanket, leading to rise in global temperatures, causing global warming. So produces carbon dioxide whose escape and accumulation, am I on? Let me hope so. Whose escape and accumulation within the atmosphere forms a blanket that traps heat, leading to rise in global temperatures, causing global warming, and its associated effects like drought and famine. The mitigation, now we can collect and recycle graphite waste instead of burning them. We can recycle them instead of burning them to reduce on emission of carbon dioxide gas within the atmosphere. Then also graphite mining, as I have said, when you mine that graphite, this land, you leave, I think in geography, they call them gullies. You leave deep holes there. These excavators which you use to dig deep, they disrupt underground water cycle. They disrupt the underground water cycle, and the water quality is lowered. Therefore, water will not be safe for human consumption. So mitigation, we can practice sustainable mining practices such as implementing land reclamation. For example, if you use an excavator, to remove that soil, to dig deep, now you can fill those deep holes with soil so that you don't leave those holes there. That's what I mean by practicing sustainable mining practices like land reclamation. Colleagues, finally, for our item, we explore dangers of methane. Methane is also made up of carbon. Therefore, if it is combusted in excess supply of air, it produces carbon dioxide, whose escape and accumulation within the atmosphere forms a blanket that traps heat, leading to rise in global temperatures, causing global warming and its associated effects. Now, how can this be mitigated? Instead of relying on methane, now people over-rely on natural gas. Instead of over-relying on natural gas, you can rely on it, but at a low extent. Maybe you can blend it. You can blend methane use with other alternative sources of fuel. For example, you can cook on gas, then you can also cook on solar energy. You can also use hydroelectric power to prepare your tea using a percolator like that, instead of over-relying on natural gas. Now, if you blend methane, like for me, I use, however, this methane is also, it can explode, by the way. Once it is held under high pressure, that is another danger which you can think about. Methane, if it is stored under pressure, those cylinders under pressure, those cylinders are always, as in within them we have methane which has been put there at a very high pressure. It is compressed on some cylinders they put CNG. Do you know what CNG means? Compressed natural gas. It is compressed. It is held at a higher pressure. Any slight mishandling can cause an explosion. Which can result into serious injuries. Yeah. So one can also think about that. So apart from greenhouse emissions, then also sources from which we obtain methane. Methane comes from refining of crude oil. And when crude oil is being refined or separated into components, we use those machines which dig deep. So crude oil mining to obtain methane disrupts underground water cycle, and this lowers the water quality, making water not safe for human consumption. Still, we shall mitigate that by practicing sustainable mining practices, like implementing land reclamation. Colleagues, allow me end this here. Allow me end that.